What are we supposed to talk about? Basically, my relationship or my history with Rolex, okay? Grand Seiko collector with his relationship with Rolex. I was not a Rolex fanboy. I don't think I really am even at this point. I was more of a Tag Heuer, Omega, James Bond fanboy. And my dad, old school, he loves Rolex. He's super loyal to Rolex. I've got him a Grand Seiko and he's like, what is this? With all due respect. That's why I started to appreciate the brand. Now, I didn't get my first Rolex until I graduated, and funnily enough, my dad got it for me. What was nice is, I think, because when my dad grew up, he grew up with Cartiers. He didn't really grow up with Rolexes. For the chance that he got it, and you know, every dad wants to get for their kids the best thing that they can, that's what he did for me. And honestly, I wasn't convinced until I put a Rolex on my wrist. So, and I loved it. I didn't like the prestige of it. Rather that the quality, that feel, there is a feeling that you get with Rolex that is kind of like uncanny or unprecedented by any other brand. Then I started to go into Rolex. I really like their history, how they approached people, how they had that concierge, how they dealt with it during the war. I just loved what their ethos or their base, how it was. Now, how my relationship with the brand currently is different. We'll keep it at the end. Honestly, I didn't appreciate Grand Seiko until I did compare it to Rolex. So that was my reference point. So I can't deny the legibility of Rolex. Regardless of the name is important, but what it stands for and its history and how it is what it is today, that should be highly regarded in a sense. So Grand Seiko collector, Curates a Rolex collection. Now, this is not my collection, that's my dad's. And honestly, I believe in, and that's what I said previously, is that buy what you love, buy what you are convinced with. So I'm not gonna go to my dad and tell him, no, you need to go change your collection to Grand Seikos, or go to any other person and you change to Omegas or Rolexes. Buy what you feel comfortable and what you love, and my dad loves Rolex. He's a Rolex fanboy, fan man, whatever you want to call it. This is his collection, his entire collection. It fits the box, other than my Grand Seiko collection.
Nice suit, Salem.
All right, thanks, man. Just came out of work. This is my office look. Anyways, going back to curating this collection. Now, I don't want to be egotistical about this, but I do believe I have a good eye in choosing watches, and I like going for the underdog before it gets overhyped. And this is basically how I curated my dad's collection. Most of the watches are before the hype came in and became really difficult to purchase. So the first watch, this I actually got for my dad when I graduated. My dad got me a few good watches. I wanted to give him back, so I got him this Rolex Yacht-Master. Now, forget about the references. I'm not big in Rolex references, but this is Yacht-Master with a platinum bezel. I thought platinum, it's the most prestigious metal, so I wanted to get that for him, and he didn't have that in his collection at the time. So I just saw it in a window from a great dealer. Wasn't at the prices that they are now, and I got it for him. I actually saved up like 4 months from my salary just to get him this watch. Got it for him. He liked it. You know how dads are. Thank you. That's basically the best you can get. But you could see that proudness that I felt proud. The first role, I could give my dad back what he has given me at a very minuscule level, or at least I can try. Second watch, this we got, me and my siblings, my sister and my brother. I got this. This is a Rolex Daytona Zenith movement. I do not know the reference. I got this when it was around 3,000 KD. We're talking here $10,000. I think 2015, 2016. I'm not shy at telling you what I paid for this. I remember when we received it, and my poor siblings had to go pick it up from somewhere in New York, so on and so forth. But when I received this, gave it to my dad in the office, I'm like, Yuba is dad in Arabic. This is a present from all of us. Okay, I don't know if it was his birthday or something. It was for some sort of event. He took it out. Okay, basically, the picture of the crown popped out. He's like, what is this piece of crap? That's literally what he told me for a Zenith. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find it, get it serviced, and get it redone, because literally I received it and I was so excited to give it back, and I got disappointed in. Basically what it's going for now, he should be super proud. I got this with the box, but no papers, but I got an authentication paper for it. Then we go into these my dad got at the same time. We're gonna reference my mom here. I don't think she'll watch this. If she does, I'm sorry, Dad. Basically, he had some money saved up and he was building the house. He went to buy these two Rolex. I don't know if he got something at work or something, a budget to buy the watch, and he couldn't make a choice between both. I went with him. He's like, Salem, which one do you want to get? I'm like, get both. And we're building a house. And my mom is like, that's her dream house. I remember my poor dad, he bought both of these watches. He took it. He's like, Salem, hide them until I tell you to get them out. And he got these two watches. So this is a Rolex Submariner two-tone with a diamond dial. And this is a diamond bezel Datejust. Okay, 36. 40. My dad actually has big wrists, but he still can pull off a 36. We go into this, the Rolex Batman. Okay, this is at a time where you can find the Submariner, the Hulk, the Explorers, every single watch on display. This was around 2016, and this was there. And my dad was there. We went to watch shopping again. He's like, which one should I get, the Submariner or the Batman? I'm like, get the Batman. Okay, not knowing that there was no hype at the time. He's like, I don't like the Batman. I'm like, get the Batman. It has more functionality. That's what I told him, because he likes to travel. He's like, no, I'm getting the Submariner. I'm like, please, just get the Batman. Just trust me. And he got. And I don't know if he's glad he listened to me. He doesn't wear it as much. He got, and he ended up getting the Rolex Batman. I knew he always wanted the Submariner, but we'll get into the Submariner. Well, actually, let's get into the Submariner now. This Rolex Submariner used to be mine. I have an affinity to the older Rolex models that have a rattly bracelet. So I got a chance to get a Rolex Coke GMT. I didn't have money at the time. I'm like, Yuba again, dad in Arabic, I'll trade you my Submariner for that watch. At the time, they cost around the same. He said, okay, he didn't mind it. He paid for that watch and he got a Submariner. I won't lie to you, I sometimes do steal it, size it. My dad has big wrists, as you can see, but I always end up putting it back in the box. There's another watch. It's the Rolex Day-Date Bullseye. I loved what this watch is. I got a good deal at the time. I think it's around 1,500 KD. I love the roulette date wheel. I owed my dad money. I told him take this watch, and he took it. He doesn't wear it as much. I feel bad for it that he doesn't wear it that much. I want to take it back. I tried to take it once. He realized that I took it, and he's like, where's the watch? I said, oh, I'm just servicing it. All my lies are coming on this video, okay? By the way, like me curating my dad's watch, I always keep him notes for what we bought it for and what its current value at the date that I write it for. So I bought this for around 2,500 KD at the time. When I wrote the sheet, it was in 2020, it was around 3,000 KD. So I just like keeping a track for him so that he feels like, okay, he has, like my son's doing a good job. So I put my name. Look, my dad is super lucky, okay? Every single watch I put on the waiting list, actually I put my name on the waiting list, I get the call. I've never got any single call for any of the watches that I wanted. So this is the Rolex Day-Date Wimbledon. We got the call. At the time, my dad was hesitant to buy it. We bought it at retail. I told him I don't mind pitching in. Once I pitched in, he bought the watch. Again, good choice. All these watches, again, were before the hype. The only watch that I got during the hype was the Rolex Pepsi. Okay, actually I didn't buy it. So what happened here is that I know my dad, once I heard the story, I don't know how true it is, because every time I tell him, this is what you told me when I was younger, he's like, I don't even remember the story. But he always said that he wanted a Rolex GMT Pepsi. At the time, he had a Milgauss with a black dial, green glass. He had two Datejust 41, one with a blue Roman dial and one with a silver normal indices. For what I did, him not knowing, I traded those three watches, got the value of it like in cash, and I got him this watch instead. I think it's a good investment, and this watch looks amazing on him. Like, this is actually my favorite watch that I see on his wrist. I couldn't pull it off. I'm not a big fan of this type of Jubilee bracelet, but it looks amazing for him. And I was glad that I was able to get him the watch that I remember him saying that he always wanted to have. This is the last purchase, let me remove the cap, that we made as a family for his last birthday, and he was supposed to retire, but he didn't retire. But anyways, it's a Rolex Datejust two-tone with a chocolate milky dial with diamonds inside it. My dad pulls this off like ever so efficiently. I can never pull this off. Looks amazing on him. He wants a new Rolex. He didn't know what to get. At the time, the OPs, everything was overhyped. I always go for the underdog that is there and that looks best. And it looks nice on him. Can this be overhyped at one point? I do not know, but this is rose gold. I think this is the only one he has in rose gold. All right, so last two. This is my dad's, like the oldest one in this collection that he has. So my dad works in an oil company in the hospital section. So they used to give away Rolexes after a certain period of time. And what my dad did is that he bought this off a guy that actually got the watch allocated for him. Now what he did is, usually they used to have the engraving of the oil company on the back. I still have it. I've put it in my safe, just in case if I want to put it for any other watch. He had the back case removed and just put a plain one. And this is the watch basically that he bought from his fellow colleague. And lastly, and I think this is the one that is most sentimental to him, I think, disregarding the ones that I tried to get, but this, he went on a travel for a pilgrimage in Saudi. He went with my aunts, with my mom as well. At the time, I think she was pregnant as well. My mom calls it the Rolex vacation, or the Rolex pilgrimage, okay?
Holy Rolex.
Yeah, the Holy Rolex, exactly. Because every single one of my aunts got for my uncles a Rolex, whoever was there. So this is the one that my dad chose. It has the Rolex imprint on it, and it has a diamond dial. I like these types of watch. I like these ones, the ones with the rattly sound. I like these old school Rolexes. So this I wasn't involved in, but I think this is the most sentimental that he got because he got it from his sisters. That's basically it. That's my dad's entire watch collection of Rolexes. So most of it I help curate. I'm proud of it. I like going for hidden gems at the time. Now, I never know. I don't know the future. I wish I did for myself. But I put a lot of thought when I get these watches, or I help my dad get these watches. I'm not really the best because I always let him overpay and he gets in trouble because of me. But I love you, Dad. I hope you're proud of me. I know I've caused you a lot of trouble, a lot of losses, but I deserve it.
Salem, could you tell us what watch is on your wrist right now?
All right, this is the Explorer 1 in 36. This is the newest iteration that Rolex offers. I love this watch. And this watch is actually the one watch collection that I don't have any Rolex in my wish list anymore. Once I got this, for some reason, I felt like, okay, that's enough of Rolex. Now, do you want me to talk about what my current situation with Rolex is? I do love what Rolex stands for. I love how they have risen from the brand that they used to be and what they are now. Rolex has become a reference point to a lot of other brands, and Grand Seiko is in comparison of that. And I do like the underdog. I think it's because I've always felt that I was an underdog in my life. I like looking the other way and not following the crowd. With that being said, Rolex will always have that respect. The thing is that I don't feel, this is my opinion, that they're not really trying hard for your money anymore. They don't have that experience. Grand Seiko, they're working to get your money. Omega, they're working to get your money. And I respect that. You go in, you get that experience. When I got my Grand Seiko White Birch, I got the experience that I miss when my dad got these Rolexes. You walk in now, with all due respect to, maybe I'm being too blunt about it, you get maybe the worst experience going to a Rolex boutique. With that being said, as I said, I didn't really get this. I got this at retail, but Maybe this is my issue in terms of allocation. I put my name on the waiting list for this watch. Someone who's dear to me did as well. He's never bought any Rolex. I've bought 2 under my name at a good value. And I'm not a flipper or reseller, so on and so forth. And he got the call, and I didn't. And he is a flipper. I wouldn't say a flipper, just in case he knows who he is, but he was seeking to make a profit out of it. And in Kuwait, the Rolex Explorer 1 is not highly regarded. It's too small compared to our market. Maybe it's given higher recognition in other markets. He tried to sell it, and literally every other great dealer would say it's too small, it's not worth it, you just get out of loss. I'm like, you know what, man, you've not used it, I'll pay what you paid retail, and I'll get it. So again, me being satisfied with this watch, I don't know if I'm just tired of the Rolex experience, or is it the fact that I do love this watch. I love what it is. I've missed it. I've not worn it for months because I've been wearing Seikos for a long time. It is a really legible watch. It reminds me why I do love Rolex, and we can't disregard Rolex, no matter what anyone says. And yeah, that's basically my current situation with it. But again, if you guys want to ask what is my preference in terms of Rolexes, I am with the ones with the rattly bracelets, the aluminum bezel, the tool watch, where you feel it's a tool watch. Wearing these watches, you feel too afraid. They're like become investments. I don't want to feel like I'm wearing an investment. I'm wearing something that I love, something that I would love to get scratched. It's my scratches. I've made those scratches. They're mine.
Could you talk to us about the box, since I know a lot of people are going to ask about it? It's a really cool looking box.
Okay, so this guy, it's from an account called your_watch12. Maybe you can put it in the link below.
This isn't sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, this isn't sponsored. He doesn't know, but he will be happy. He actually, I used to buy these boxes from him, and then I've requested him, maybe in the previous video that you guys, or the other video that you guys have seen, I asked him to customize the Grand Seiko one, and this guy does an amazing job. Like genuine leather, the finishing, it's like, you feel like you're coming out of the 80s with all this look. I'm coming to the Scottish shoot, and I'm like this old guy coming out of the plane. Amazing in terms of quality, and they have other versions as well. What I love about my dad is that can't classify him as a watch collector. I wouldn't even classify him as a watch enthusiast. He's just a guy who loves watches, and he wears all of these sparingly. He doesn't care about investment. He just comes to me every week, Salem, change the watch. You're responsible for the rotation, which is fun for me as a watch collector, watch enthusiast. Like, it's an honor for him to do that. And he's the guy who got me into watches again. Like, I tell him, okay, what meetings do you have? What look do you have? So on and so forth. Of course, he does have other than these, but these are technically his most prized possession just because of the name. He does have a few Omegas. He has the Cartiers. He has a high affinity for them as well. But again, if you just have major close-ups, every single watch is scratched. Most of them do not have stickers on them. There is that they did have stickers, most of them, but he doesn't care much. He gets to know. He's like, what is this? And he just trips out. I'm like, you're dying. Well, I'm like, no, actually, that is the beauty of it. That is how watches are supposed to be, and I do respect him for it. That's what I did with this one. When I got this one, I removed all the stickers. This is my watch. I'm not selling it, and it's what it's supposed to be. I don't mind watches being investments. Whatever floats your boat, you gotta enjoy them. If you don't enjoy them, but then why do you have? I'm a bit hypocritical because I do have something stored in the safe, but I respect my dad for being that type of guy. All right, so what's next for my dad? So if you realize what I tried to curate in terms of my dad's collection, I tried to get him at least the most prominent watches that are not overhyped at the time in his collection. Now the thing is, everything is kind of overhyped in Kuwait. He is looking for the next Rolex. I did suggest him I think it's a Sky Dweller, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, maybe a Cellini. You never know with those. A Day-Date gold. At the time when I wanted to get it for him, I was going to sell like 10 watches just to get it because I love my dad that much, because I can't get the platinum. But I think from that time, I think in 2020, they have escalated. They were in the boutiques. So I'm not sure, to be honest. He keeps asking me. I'm like, just wait. I'm definitely, maybe the Sprite, if it wasn't overhyped, It depends, but again, I always go or root for the underdog. But I don't impose that on my dad unless I feel like, okay, you can get that, it's good value, go for it. So I don't know yet, but I do have a holy grail for him, which is the Platinum Day-Date in Arabic or Hindu numerals, whatever they call it. So this one doesn't have the rattly sound. I think I should get the Bark and Jack one. We love you, by the way. So over the course of curating this collection, there are things that have left the collection as well. So the Explorer 2, not the newest reference, the one before, in black and in white. There is Explorer 1 in 39 millimeter. The Milgauss, the 2 Datejust, and 41. So these should be given honorable mentions. I don't think he even liked them that much, and there was no story associated other than they were my watches. I wanted to get rid of them, so I kind of like sold them to my dad and then got resold. Anyways, it's another story. I don't want to embarrass myself, even when him watching this. I don't want him finding out certain things, but that's basically it. So those are some watches over the course of the history with these watches that have left the collection. So we can't do a video of a Japanese watch collector without talking about two Japanese watches. Technically, one is a homage of the Rolex Pepsi, and one it has its own iconic view. So this is the iconic SKX009 Pepsi bezel, because I couldn't get my dad at the time. Little did I know that I got this actually 1 month after I got him this. I got him this SKX. This is a workhorse. This is the J1, the Japanese version. If you can see here, we're going to do a close-up. It has been modded, which has my dad's name on the dial. Very subtle. And I changed the hands into Mercedes hands that are more resembling to a Rolex Pepsi. Okay, this is one. This is another modded watch. I just like the look of it. My dad is a bling bling kind of guy, so if you realize half his collection is like full of diamonds. I saw this on Instagram. It looked super cool. The watch is fully modded. This is a direct homage of a Pepsi, but what is interesting is in the back case, it actually has a picture of him lasered, engraved. So I think this was held a sentimental value. I remember I posted this on Instagram before I had my account, even at work, and everyone's like, oh, where do you do it, so on and so forth, even with this watch as well. So Japanese watches, modded, but still workhorses as well.